Welcome back, everybody. Sarcasm Speaks, Jared and Bob here. And game two for us coming off of high, I don't know, high energy game, I guess. Hopefully this isn't a letdown game, right? It's a big letdown spot, but we got it. We'll come through. So in order to keep the energy up, what I want to do is talk about something uh, obviously politics related, but something that I think is really interesting and really fucking stupid. So, um, the other day I saw something that said the Harris campaign wants to implement I think it was a 25% tax on unrealized capital gains, right? So there's a couple things there. I don't have it in front of me. I probably should have, but whatever. So I think what she wanted to do when it came to business, right, was institute a 28% corporate tax, right? So if you own a business, you now owe a 28% tax to the federal government. Um, and she wants to, I think, increase a different kind of tax and then also implement a 25% tax on unrealized gains, which what that means is if you own stocks, right? So anybody that owns stocks, if they go up as of today, right? As of this very moment, if the stocks you own go up and you sell them, you pay the tax on the gains when you sell, right? Because you have realized that gain. So to keep things simple, let's play the game, right? You buy a stock for $100. 3 years later, it's now worth $200. You have made $100 per share in 3 years. If you decide to sell at that 3 year mark, you get taxed on $100 gain per share, right? So we don't need to get into the nitty gritty, but because it was 3 years and it would only be a 15% tax, right? If it's less than a year that you hold the stock, you pay a 30% tax on it. But so you would pay 15%, right? So for every $100 in that stock that you owned that gained, right, you pay $15 in tax to the federal government. So that $100 stock that you sell at $200, you get to keep, you know, $85, right? Of the $100 that you made, right? That's how that works with the taxes. If we start taxing unrealized gains, what happens is in that same scenario, you buy, let's play it stupid simple and say you only bought one stock, right? You buy one stock of something that is $100. The following year, it goes up 100%. It goes up $100. Now it's worth $200. You now need to pay 25% tax. You now owe the government $25 for owning a stock that increased by $100 in a year that you still own. You haven't sold it, right? As it stands right now, you only pay the tax when you sell. But what she wants to do is tax you for owning it. And I don't know the specifics of this, but I've heard people talk. And again, I don't know this for sure. I haven't looked into it. I can't back it up, but I've heard people talk that this may also apply to real estate. Right? So if you buy a house that's worth 400 grand, a couple of years later, right, it's worth 600 grand, you now owe tax on that $200,000 of that appreciation.
Yeah.
Uh,
So the only detail I found is this would start to show up if it's like we're talking like 100 million. Now, I don't know if that's 100 million in income or 100 million in unrealized gains, but everyone's like, oh, well, who gives a shit? It's just 100 million. It's only for those that have 100 million. All they have to do is lower the threshold. And then it's everybody or whatever.
Right. Right. But
Uh,
also, who runs the stock market? The people that have a hundred
that type of
million
money.
plus dollars in it, right? Like me and you don't sway the stock market, right? With a couple $100 here, a couple $100 there. It's the people that have the hundreds of millions of dollars. They're the ones that control the stock market.
The Someone actually used Zoom as like the craziest example. And I'm going to use fake numbers, but it's something like, if you bought 100 shares of Zoom at $35, so you spend $3,500 on Zoom, right?
Yep.
And that was in, say, January of 2020. So then by December of 2020, Zoom is like 250 a share. So 25 grand minus your $3,500 investment. So you have a $21,500 unrealized capital gain, right?
Right.
And I don't know what the tax rate's supposed to be. Is it going to be 20 still? Or no, because it's
25%.
short term, 25.
Yeah.
So you owe 53.75 on money you don't have, right?
Yep.
And then, so say you held that Zoom stock and then you sold it, I don't know, yesterday. You lost money on that deal. So you owe
Right.
53.75 and you lost money because it's worth less than
Right.
the purchase price in January of 2020.
Right. Right.
So how the fuck does that make sense?
Doesn't seem to make any sense to me.
And like I just don't fucking get like this is what like this is another one of those. It's like I just don't fucking get it because anyone with a fucking brain knows that this doesn't fucking work. So people out there, they like Harris and her fucking people, they are literally telling you like, "Hey, dumbasses,
Yeah.
you're too retarded to figure this out. Vote for us. We're gonna tax the rich people."
Yeah.
And then like, everyone's sitting there like drooling on themselves, going, "Yeah,
Yeah. Tax the rich.
tax the rich
Yeah.
people," not realizing that this doesn't make any fucking sense.
And
And it
I
doesn't
don't
make sense, not even from a political standpoint. It doesn't make sense from a mathematical standpoint.
No, no. And I don't really super understand it, but I've heard people talk about it on podcasts that do, right, that are in economics. And they've said this would crash the stock market because it incentivizes people to sell, right, and take their losses and accelerate their losses to offset any unrealized gains. So what ends up happening is there'll just be massive sell-offs all over the stock market, and then the market would tank and crash because everyone is going sell, 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 sell.
Like that's my thing because again, it's like I'm not in the 100 million, but year over year, I mean, I'm generally up whatever percent
Right,
because all my shit is ETFs anyway.
right.
And it's like this is the only thing. Now you are now setting a precedent of taxing on things you don't have.
Yep.
So I'm really hoping our nine best friends, if this was ever to even make any ground, I'm hoping our nine best friends would be like, yeah, you ain't doing that.
Yeah, I would hope so too. I feel like they would, right? Because you can't tax people on what they don't have.
And that's the thing is like as is, so it's like they tax on income. A lot of things are subject to sales tax. You have property tax on a car. You have property tax on a house.
Yep.
So I guess it's excise and property, but I think excise tax is technically just a personal property tax,
It
but
is. Yeah. Yeah.
um and then if you make or if you earn any money in any other way over a certain threshold, there's a tax on that too. There's a tax on gambling. There's a tax on uh capital gains on stocks, short term, long term. There's a tax on selling a piece of property, and it can only be offset if you buy another piece of property within a year or something.
Yeah.
And now they're going to try to add a tax to things that to money we don't currently have.
Yep.
It would almost be like so this is honestly almost like partially the equivalent. If you make $100,000 at your job, it's like them going be like, yeah, but you could make 300,000. So we're going to tax you at a rate of 300,000.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I don't make 300,000, but you could. It
Yep.
makes no sense.
Yeah. It's kind of how like the appraisal system works for houses, right? Because like the what it appraises for is never like what it sells for, right? So it's like, oh yeah, the house is worth 400,000. Yeah, but I'm going to list it for 550. Right? And then it'll probably sell for 620. Yeah, but we appraised it at 400.
Yeah, but so the appraisals are sketchy business though,
Yeah, those are
because there's also two types of appraisals. There's the appraisal for the purchase of the house, which if the appraisal's too far off of the agreed upon mortgage
yeah,
price runs into
you
problems.
don't get your mortgage. Yeah.
And it goes either way too. I
Right,
think it's
right.
like if it if you're paying too little or too much, it fucks it all up.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but and then yeah, so then like if the number comes in at the wrong spot, the whole thing's fucking gone. So then the appraisal companies just go, okay, what's the purchase price of the house? It's like, okay, it was 600. Yeah, I'm coming in at 599, 899.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, okay, it's effectively the same thing. But then the real estate taxes have their own appraisal on
Right,
the home,
right.
which I don't exactly know what goes into that calculation, but like you could have an appraisal of X, a purchase price of Y, and a tax rate of Z.
Yep.
And be like, what's your house worth? I don't know. Who's asking?
Yeah, yeah. Which data are we pulling from?
Yeah. Which is that's another thing too. It's like, oh, we got a mortgage, we got to do an appraisal. Well, the appraisal companies they're just going with the purchase prices because they know it fucks the mortgage up. So if you do your job too well, the mortgage companies aren't going to use you
Yeah,
because then they don't get to write their mortgage. And people aren't going to hire you if they know it's like, oh shit, this company's tough. Like
yeah.
this deal's probably falling through. They're not
Right,
going to use you,
right.
and then you have no business. So it's like, yeah, that whole thing's fucked. But like this is fucked too because it's like again the same thing on the house you own. If your house appraises by 200,000, but that's the other thing. It doesn't appraise by 200,000 in 1 year.
Right,
So
right,
it's
right,
like
right.
now we got to hire more accountants for the IRS because if you buy a house for 500,000, then the next year it appraises at 525. Well, that's only a 25,000 increase. And the next year it's 535. Well, you don't get taxed on 35,000 because you already paid tax on the 25. You pay tax on the 10.
Right, right.
So now it's just more complicated math. So accounting fees go up.
Yep.
And the accountants are sitting there like, we're already busy. I didn't need this much more work, but I'm going to fucking bill for it.
Yeah.
Fucking sucks.
Yeah, and I think it further complicates the tax code too, right? Like I heard someone talk on a podcast the other day just talking about like the tax code, They were like, "Do you ever wonder why it's so complicated?" And he goes, "Because
So the
they,
peasants don't understand.
yeah." And he goes, "Because they don't want you, the average person, to be able to understand." I think I want to say it was like the 19 teens, and maybe the Great Depression had something to do with it. Um, they completely revamped the tax code and they changed a bunch of things and they changed like the way it was worded. And then it started to become like sketchy, right? So, like pre 1920, apparently the tax code was like pretty straightforward. And then after that was when things started to get goofy. And
That's
then
weird. It's when the government got involved.
World War II is when they instituted the income tax because they needed money for the war. And the income tax never went away, wouldn't you know? Because when you give the government a little bit, they're like, "Oh yeah, well, we can't give this money back. We can't do without this money now. We
Yep.
have to justify our budget so next year we can ask for more."
You get an increase.
Yeah, yeah, next year we can get an increase, right? If we don't use all of our budget, how are we going to get more next year? That's literally how that works. And now you have the government that is way fucking over bloated.
I don't know, man. It's just
And would
like,
be more bloated. Like why what possibly could the government need more money for that they need to tax people 25% on unrealized gains?
and that, yeah.
Like that's
That's
where
it.
we're at.
But so here's the other thing though, because again, this is how it works. So if you pay the tax on unrealized gains, and then you sell the stock. So say you bought a stock earlier this year, it goes up in 50% and you make 200 million on the deal
Yep.
and you're subject to this tax. And you sit there and you pay it because whatever, like I'll just pay it. Well, the next year, if you sell the stock, say it goes up $0
Right.
from the end of this year to like June. It's $0, has not gone
Yeah,
up.
it's
So you still
exactly
have
the same.
earned
Yeah.
your 200 million, but it has not gone up at all since then.
Right.
And then you sell it, that's double taxation.
Right.
So how does that now work? Because now so now you have to calculate how much you've earned on a certain stock. And then when you do sell it, well, how much did you earn and how much have you already been taxed? Because you can't double tax on that because it's
Right.
no longer capital gains if a tax has already been paid.
Right.
And then if you have some stocks that you can show a loss on,
Yeah. How does that
like
fall into the
because
equation?
because again, like you could have like this is like the fucked up stuff, right? So you could have a second stock because it's got to be big numbers if it's going to meet the threshold. So there's another stock where you earned 150 million on it this year,
Mhm.
and then next year it's down 50 million,
Right.
but overall it's still plus 100. So you sell it, are you now down 50 technically? Because if there's unrealized gains, are there unrealized losses? Actually, that's not an unrealized loss. That is a
That is a
loss.
realized loss. Yeah.
That's a realized loss. If you use the unrealized gains as a barometer at the end of one year, then you have a loss,
Right.
even
Right.
though you netted 100
Yeah.
million.
Yeah. It's a great way to get a popsicle headache.
And I'm sure there's some people saying, oh, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Tax the motherfuckers.
Yeah. Tax the rich.
Tax the rich.
Yeah.
How about this? Use that fucking gray matter in your fucking head.
Yeah. Yeah. To your point, right? Number one, doesn't take much to change the threshold once they have the law, right?
Yep.
So that's how they started. They go, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. This is only for the bad guys, right?" That hey, remember the little thing called the Patriot Act? Oh no, no, this is only for the bad guys. We're only going to monitor the terrorists.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Now you say couch too close to your
Yeah, and
phone,
you get
and you
ads.
get ads for couches all over your phone. But yeah, yeah, yeah. The Patriot Act was only for the bad guys. It's only for the bad guys, right? This is for your safety. We're doing this to keep you safe. Yeah. This unrealized capital gains tax. Oh, it's only for the bad people. It's only for the rich people, right? Rich people equal bad, right? It's only for those
Right. And they,
people.
yeah, and they can afford it. I mean,
Yeah.
they're
Then a couple
rich.
of years from now, the government's like, oh man, we got a lot of debt. Our debt ceiling is still going up. All this stuff. Yeah, we're gonna move that threshold down from 100 million to 50,000.
$100.
Yeah, yeah. And then 3 years later, they're like, well, yeah, we got to drop that down to $100, right? And then by then too, it's like, oh, we're also going to start taxing that $600 you get on Venmo, right? It's like that's how this works. They start one way and then they change it, right? That's always how it is. That's always
It's
how
just
it
an
goes.
interest, dude. It's a fascinating thing to roll out leading into the election.
Yeah. So that was the other
Because
thing.
anyone with a brain looks at this and goes, "This is not good.
Yeah, yeah.
This is
So
not a good thing, and it does not make sense."
so that was the one thing, right? Where I said like the first of all, there was that. Second of all, it's like it or not, right? Like it or not, the facts of the matter are rich people control the country. Really, they control the world, right? Rich people have much more effect on the world than you and me sitting right here, and probably anybody that's going to listen to this podcast, right? So,
And then if you combined all of us and fucking
yeah,
multiplied
combine
it
all
by
of us.
50,
Yep,
still doesn't matter.
yep. Still not even a speck, right? It's like this isn't a good thing, right? The tax the rich, the do all this, like rich people have enough money to pay enough people to make it so they
So they
don't
don't pay any
need to pay
taxes.
taxes, right? Like that's just what it is. You don't think that if they implement this new tax on unrealized capital gains, how many rich people you think are actually going to pay that tax? Probably very little, right? Because they'll hire a new accountant. Like you said, the accountant's like, well, we had enough work already. Now we have even more. They'll hire more
Yep.
accountants to figure out ways to not have to pay this tax.
Never mind the people. So going back to what you said, where it's like, oh, like who controls the stock market? Okay, well, it's the rich people.
Yeah,
Oh, and A, if this goes through, it'll tank the stock market. So
right.
what do you think the rich people are going to do? They're probably just going to purposely tank the fucking thing. So they'll do whatever they need to do to get cash.
Right.
Actually, the process of tanking the stock market is by getting cash. It's just selling everything.
Yeah.
They'll just tank it, get all their cash, get all their fucking railroad bonds, get it all fucking sorted out. The market bottoms out, and then they just buy everything again.
Yep.
This time at a discount.
Yep.
And what happens? The regular person sitting there being like, economy sucks. And the fucking rich guys are lighting up cigars going, got him again.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Like think about how rich, like actual rich people must have gotten stemming from what happened in March 2020. Like, dude, me and you sitting in the fucking room in Mansfield
Yeah.
didn't get rich,
No, but we made a lot of money.
but we put it to the fucking market those
Yeah.
days
Yeah.
because it wasn't actually that fucking difficult. Everything was on sale.
Yeah.
You
Just
could buy
buy literally
anything
anything. Literally anything.
and then just sell it when it got high. That's
Yeah.
it.
No, no, no. It's got to go
Done.
lower. No, I can't buy it yet. It's got to go
It's
lower.
not low enough.
Yeah. Not low enough.
Yeah. Fucking Caesars was like $4 a share. And it's like, no, gotta go lower.
Yeah.
I don't think he can, dude.
Yeah, it's like for the last like 15 years or whatever that Caesar's been public, they've been trading around like 30 to $40 consistently, right? For a 15-year stretch. Now it's down to $4. Where do you think it's going to end up after the pandemic? Probably back around
Probably
30,
right around 30
$40.
bucks.
Yeah. Yeah, the amount of money that people made from that.
It must be stupid, dude.
Yeah.
Anyone with cash and who knew what they were doing.
Yeah. I mean,
Because I
ourselves
didn't have
included, a
cash and
lot
it,
of the stocks that I bought, I still have
I
at
still
that
have, I
time.
mean, dude, I
I
bought a
haven't sold. I
lot. Because that's the same thing. Like I bought a lot of ETFs and whatever because I do like I know I'm an idiot, so I know I can't buy too many like
individual stocks. Yeah.
individual stocks
Right.
because I don't know when the right time to fucking unload them is, and I don't know what the number should be or shouldn't be. Like I don't know that stuff.
Right. Right.
So it's like I just bought all the ETFs I could while they were fucking bottomed out.
Yeah.
And
And they
then
bounce
like
back.
yeah, especially like a couple of them. Like I think I have like I don't know which financial institutions, but their S&P 500 one. I'm like, that's like 500 something bucks a share right now. I'm like, in 2020, that must have been like 180.
Yeah. So, yeah. Um,
Can we buy
seems kind
war
of,
bonds?
yeah.
If World War III is coming, can we buy war bonds?
How do we get war bonds? Yeah. Can you buy war bonds if there's no active war?
It's in anticipation of war.
Did you know? Fun fact, maybe you did know this. Technically, by the Constitution, there hasn't been a war, an official war that the United States has engaged in since World War II.
Well,
Because
Korea was a conflict.
by the Constitution, well, do you know why they went back and changed the nomenclature to call it the Korean conflict and like the Vietnam whatever? They don't call it the Vietnam War anymore, and it's the Korean conflict. Do you know why they've gone back and
Well,
done that?
Korean conflict in Vietnam. What do they call? So what do they call Vietnam? Because Korean, it used to be the Korean War. Now it's the Korean conflict. But
Yeah,
is Vietnam still a
it
war?
might be the Vietnam conflict. No, none of them are wars. So they went back and they redid this because in the Constitution, it explicitly says, again, this whole three branches of government thing and our favorite nine people in the government, in order for there to be war, the president of the United States needs to request permission from Congress to declare war. The last time that was done was World War II.
So when
So all
I
of these wars that we've fought officially on the books are not considered wars because the sitting president at the time did not ask Congress for permission to declare war. The president just kind of like went off on his own and like started sending troops places. Because theoretically, right, if you acknowledge it as a war, technically that president would have broke the constitution and would be subject to whatever.
impeachment.
You can't be impeached after you're out of office, I don't
Oh,
think.
true.
You know what I mean? But like,
Yeah, so I mean, even when you Wikipedia Vietnam War, it says it was a conflict.
yeah,
Korean War was an armed conflict.
yep. The Gulf War was not a war. It also only lasted like 16 days because George
Armed
Bush Sr. just
conflict.
kind of went in and fucked shit up and was like, yeah, fuck you guys. 16 days later, they were like, all right, we surrender.
Uh, yeah, wouldn't you know it?
Yeah, yeah. So
I mean, war bonds should be cheap then.
they should be. I would gather a guess. There may not be an official war ever again
Probably not.
because the precedent has already been set
Right.
by
You can
previous presidents that
you can kind of go to war
you
without.
can engage in war without requesting Congress permission.
I feel like our nine friends should figure that one out too.
I feel like they should.
Like, hey, if you're gonna go to war, can you do it like normally?
But like I said, like I don't know if there's any way to like retroactively do anything. Like what are
No,
you
not
gonna do?
retro.
Like
Well, so this is my thing. It's like, yeah, I don't know, because it's like you can't because you can send troops in peace, like that's
yeah,
fine. And then it's like, oh, well, if you can't invade a country, it's like, well, define invade. It's like, ah, shit.
Yeah.
So that's the thing is if you want to, if I guess our nine friends can't do anything else, they probably would have. If you really wanted to say, like, no, you can't go into another country without declaring war, then it's like, well, no, because you don't need to be in war to go into it'd be a
Yeah.
whole thing. Again, you just argue semantics forward and backward.
And the whole thing in the Middle East is called the global war on terror, right? It's a war on terror. So technically, right? Not theoretically, technically it's not an
It's not a
actual
war on a
war.
country.
It's not war on a country. It's a war on a concept, right? A concept is the terror, right? So the global war on terror is a concept. It's not a war against any
You
specific
know,
country.
there are some people with brains in the government. They're just using them for the wrong fucking reasons.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of wild.
Fucking annoying.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, how about those war bonds? They should be
I wonder,
cheap because they'll
people,
never be used ever again.
all those treasury bonds people used to buy all the time.
Yeah.
Can you still buy those?
Yeah, yeah, I think you can.
Where the fuck would you buy one? I don't even know.
The
Like,
post office? I don't know.
I don't even know.
Where do you get a
You
treasury
know what? So
bond?
you know what's funny? It's like it's
Can you
almost
go to
similar.
any bank?
I don't know,
I don't
dude.
know. Because those
It's
they're
almost
not federal banks.
no, they're not. It's also similar to like something as simple as like we need euros to go to Italy, right?
Yeah.
Where do you get euros?
AAA.
AAA has them.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's the thing. I'm like, oh, you gotta go to a financial institution. Like
Yeah,
you're exchanging money.
yeah.
So it's either a kiosk at the Burlington Mall
I was just gonna
or
say that there was a kiosk in the mall.
at the top of the escalators in
Yeah,
the back by the
yeah.
food court. I'm like, or you got to go to a bank. And then it's like, I think Michaela's mother was like, I can order them through AAA. I go, is there anything you can't fucking do at AAA? I swear to God, with a AAA and a Costco membership, I think you could
I,
do literally anything you wanted to.
I think that you are pretty
So
accurate.
you could, so if you think about it, AAA, you can do all of your registry of motor vehicles.
Yep,
You can do your passport.
yep. You can
Um,
travel.
so you can actually get competing quotes on travel because Costco and AAA both do travel. You got roadside assistance, whatever. Um, Costco has all, I mean, obviously all your food and whatever.
Right.
You can get windows at Costco,
You can get tires from Costco.
tires. Full. It's not a full auto center, but
Yeah.
it's a lot.
They can probably change your oil.
I wonder if it is just tires though. Now that I think about it, I've never given that much thought. It might just be tires
You can get all your groceries in bulk.
in bulk.
You can get a resin tiki bar.
Yep. Beer, wine, liquor.
Yep.
Uh, my appointment, jewelry,
Yeah.
electronics.
Yeah. I think the
So I
only
mean
thing
that
you can't do between the two of them is get your taxes done.
yeah, I was gonna say, so I mean there is no like urgent care. I mean, it's only a matter of time before Costco starts adding an urgent care.
I'm honestly surprised AAA doesn't have like CPAs offered for like taxes.
Hold that thought. I'm actually gonna I mean, this is so stupid, but I'm actually gonna see shut up. You don't need my location. Dude, so RMV, DMV, roadside travel, loans and banking, insurance services,
All right.
driving school.
Wow.
Um,
No taxes though.
tax filing discounts.
Oh, okay.
So, dude, just
Well,
under
that's the
loans and
other thing
wait.
too, is like AAA has so many discounts. Like,
So, auto loans, auto refinancing, auto buying, warranties, student loans, everything you need there, mortgages, including reverse, home equity, VA loans, all that crap,
is a
motorcycle,
reverse
ID
mortgage where the
theft,
bank pays me?
deposit programs, personal loans, home services, small business. Dude, what do they have for a small business loan? Oh, I don't want to call because I don't actually want the money. I just give me the rate. Why can't you just give me
Yeah,
the rate? That's funny.
yeah. So AAA and Costco, really, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, effectively, if you have a membership at those two things, because not for nothing, even like the quick thing I'm looking at, it's not like it says like exchange currency anywhere.
right, right. But they do it.
Yeah, I think it might be under travel financial essentials. TSA pre-check.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, look at them. Who would have thought?
Not me. But on that note, you want to wrap this up?
We can wrap this up.
All right.
So, first project at the new house is done. AC has
Nice.
been installed.
Like
Um,
Central?
Central up top and a split on the first floor.
Nice.
It made the most sense for everything we want to do. So today we were over there and I asked Michaela, like, hey, what do you want to get done over here today? Like, cause I'll just start like chopping shit down.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I want to get the ACs out the window. I go, all right, no problem. So here's my background with window ACs. I did not have one until I was 22 years old. And when I was 22 years old, my father showed up with one to my first apartment in Bridgewater. And we got it in the window. And then we went to Home Depot, bought a 2x4, cut to a specific length,
Right.
threw it above the window, couple knocks, and that's what we used to make sure that the window wasn't going to open on it.
Yeah. That's what I do now.
Perfect. I believe I kept that window unit until 2020, 20, 2014. Sorry. Oh, fuck. I was off by a decade. So that's 3 years of that window unit. And then when we were in Mansfield, we had a few window units plus that like floor thing.
Yeah.
So that was 3 years. So I've been alive for 34 years. I've had window units for 6 years of my life. So to say that I know how to like kind of work one, but I don't really know all the ins and outs is pretty fucking fair. So the retard that I am, I forgot about the little clip up top. So
Oh,
we're trying to open the window and I'm like, it's not fucking budging. So I'm thinking the window's broken or they
yeah.
fucking like stuck it in place.
Yeah.
Nope, the fucking clip's up top. I'm like, all right, that's on me. I forgot about the clip because even my one in Mansfield had that little clip. Uh, the one in Bridgewater did not. That was the piece of wood.
Yeah.
So window goes up. We're holding on to this this is a big unit. And I'm like holding on to it and I'm like, this should be harder to hold. So I go, hey, let go for a second. She lets go. Doesn't go anywhere. I go, oh boy. How is this thing in here right now? So I'm looking and I'm trying to lift and it ain't coming out, but it's not going anywhere either.
Right.
So unfortunately, we don't live there, so we don't have all of our shit. I don't
Right.
have a ladder to
Right.
go outside and look at what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
So I have this little ass step stool. And I mean little. Like it might give me like 8 inches of lift. But it's enough that I can reach up and I can look.
Yeah.
And I'm looking and I'm like, how the fuck is this thing like this thing should have fallen out. which we're getting rid of the fucking thing. We basically broke it on the front already. So it's like, if it falls
Yeah.
out the window, good. Our problem's fucking
Yeah.
solved.
Yeah. Who cares?
And if it takes the window with it, we're getting new ones. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I'm looking and I'm pushing up and it's not moving. I go, what the fuck? I can lift it, but it's not
Yeah.
getting unlodged. I go, how the fuck is this thing stuck here right now? So I'm able to look because I'm able to lift the right side more than the left when I'm outside there. And it looks like there's a screw going into like the windowsill on the outside.
Interesting.
So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, but how the fuck do I get to that?
Yeah.
Like, how do I get to that screw? So I'm like pushing up and I'm looking at it. And then Michaela eventually came out and she's like pushing up on it. And I'm like looking and I go, it's moving up a little bit, but that screw seems to be holding it in
Yeah.
place.
This is one, the magic screw.
So it's like, okay, go back inside. In the meantime, I think the step stool thing broke. So
Yeah.
we're down our 8-inch step stool. So I mean, we need a ladder there anyway. But so go back inside, and I'm trying to rip the front off of the AC, like the vents, the filters, like all. I'm just trying to rip it off because I'm
Yeah.
like, this is stuck, and I can't fucking figure out how.
Yeah.
And I'm looking, and I'm like, I got the vents and the filter, so we're to the main meat of it, and I'm like, I can't see in this thing. So I have no fucking idea how this AC is fixed to this window. And right now I have no way of also figuring it out because I don't have a ladder there. So I'm gonna try to I think I still have Jamie's ladder at the gym. So I'm gonna bring that to the house and I guess try to fucking figure it out.
Yeah.
But I cannot for the life of me figure out how to get this window AC. So now I'm doubting everything that I know,
Yeah.
which isn't much. So we go upstairs. It's a much smaller AC. So I get the clip immediately, clips out. I go just like lean on this thing. Windows open, comes right out. I go, okay, so I do know how to remove a fucking
Yeah.
air
Yeah.
conditioner. I'm like, I did it for 3 fucking years
Yeah.
in Mansfield. I think I left the one in Bridgewater in year round. It's kind of cold, but
Fuck it.
um,
Whatever.
whatever. So as it stands right now, I have no idea what to fucking do with this thing.
Interesting. Sounds like you need a sledgehammer.
So the windows aren't here yet. So I can't just like smash everything out because that's the other thing is we're just replacing the windows. We weren't gonna put in a new
Right.
wall.
Right. Yeah.
But dude, for the life of me, like this thing is not a small air conditioner. I'm like, how
Is
did this
there
not?
there's no bracket or anything underneath it that like holds it to the window?
No, because we're able to just go underneath
Yeah.
and move it.
Because we have one of those for the big unit, like right here, because we have
Yeah,
the giant one. And it's like it's just a pressure thing. Like it juts straight out and then there's an angle coming back. And like when you push down, it pushes against the house so it can't fall out the window.
right. Yeah, I've seen those, and it's like that's not what's holding this fucking thing in.
Yeah. That's wild. Imagine if it
Yeah.
is just that one screw.
But like I don't know how to get to it. So I cannot comprehend
The laws of physics cease to exist in your window.
like because that's my thing. I'm like the way I'm looking at this. So obviously I'm missing something, right? I have to be
Yeah, I would say so. That's a fair assumption.
because the only other way from what I examined today. Now again, I don't have a ladder to get up there. From what I examined today is would have the only way is there would have had to have been some level of assembly of the unit.
Yeah.
No one assembles their own fucking air conditioner to mount it to a fucking windowsill. That's insane.
No, no way.
So I think next week.
That's a next week
I mean,
problem.
I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do because it's
Yeah.
like I still don't have a fucking solution. But I'm like, I don't know. I'm like hoping it's like, oh well, if I bring a ladder, I'll come up with something. It's like, what?
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know. And it's like that's the thing is like I took a picture. There is very fucking visibly a screw in this thing.
Yeah,
And I, for the life of me, cannot figure out
just how it works.
how to get to it.
Yeah.
Unless I just come get the angle grinder and just fucking cut it.
Could do that too. Don't stand
That
underneath it.
would be sketchy though, because I have to cut it from the outside
Yeah,
and
so it's falling right on you.
it's gonna fall back.
Yep, yep. That's wild. Now I'm interested. I want to know how your AC eventually comes out of the window.
It's so strange, dude. So strange.
You know it's going to be something stupid. It's
Well, it
going to be
has to
like,
be.
oh yeah, no, it
Mathematically, it
turns
has to
out
be.
this was actually in this, and there's a brace underneath it on on the windowsill or whatever, and you had to like click it, do that. It's going to be something fucking stupid.
It has to be.
Yeah,
Because that's the other thing too, is it's like, yeah, sure, I've done like a few things, but like I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
yeah,
So it's always something stupid.
yeah, yep. Well, my final thought is, we shit on the state of Massachusetts pretty frequently. Um, the good thing is at least it has seasons, though, right? But
Thank God.
regardless, outside of that, Massachusetts has decided to table their discussion on bringing back happy hour. So I think we've talked about this sometime in the past that it was on the table, right, to reinstitute happy hour. They were going to discuss it. They were thinking about maybe putting it to a ballot measure and things like that. So recently, like within the last couple of weeks, the state has decided to just put the kibosh on the whole happy hour reinstitution thing. And surprisingly, the people that spoke out the most about bringing back happy hour were restaurants. Now, I saw this on Twitter, right? And I saw people, the classic, right? Because you get the instant, the no brain, like not don't try and think about why they would be restaurants. Just read the headline, be like, oh, I can't believe these idiots are trying to leave money on the table. You know how much money they would make and this and that. Okay. So I start reading more of the comments. And then I think like that is weird. Like, why would the restaurants who would seemingly benefit from this be the ones that are the most outspoken against it? Well, thanks to Twitter and the comments, there are two reasons. The first reason is they don't make that much money on happy hour stuff, right? Like you're
Actually,
selling
kind
like
of.
dollar beers, right? So where you make the money, what they said is where they make the money is the food, right? So people come for the happy hour drinks, right? So you get the $1 Bud Light, right? But you also order the $17 cheeseburger, right? So like people that go to happy hour specifically for the drinks, the restaurant doesn't make a ton of money off of that. Okay,
Yeah, so I was gonna say, like, so a pure bar doesn't want to do
right.
happy hour. A restaurant wants to do
Right.
happy hour.
Right. So that was point number one. Point number two, which was actually way more significant and made a lot more sense to me, is restaurants have to carry liability insurance. So if they reinstitute happy hour, their liability insurance will skyrocket because it's increased alcohol intake, which means increased chance for DUIs, which means not only just DUI, but just anybody operating a car under the influence of alcohol. They're way more likely for car accidents and anything like that. So the restaurant could then be turned back and sued, right? If someone goes to happy hour, gets 4 Mai Tais, and then gets in the car, jumps the median, and kills someone, the person of the family who died can now go back to that restaurant and sue them for serving 4 Mai Tais to someone who was driving, right? Like that's a thing. Like restaurants are required to carry liability insurance. Well, if you reinstitute happy hour, again, that's more booze, more alcohol flowing, people getting behind the wheel, higher chance of accidents, deaths, all this stuff, which means the insurance rates go up. So I saw that and I was like, that's what it is. It's it would cost the restaurants more money to bring happy hour back. So that's why it's never coming back. So all these people that are like, oh yeah, Massachusetts, whatever, like we had the discussion a little bit here, there, like, oh, maybe it'll come back. Maybe we'll be a real state. Maybe we'll do this. Nope, it's never coming back. And this is one of those government things, right? Like we were talking about the tax. You institute a tax and it never goes away. You institute this law that you can't have any happy hours in Massachusetts. Nowhere in Massachusetts, it's never coming back because none of these restaurants want to pay an increase in their insurance rates.
And I think the funniest thing is like because within the state, no one has it. So it's not
Right.
like, you know,
Yeah, it's not like Applebee's, right? Because they're a massive national chain, right? It's not like no one has it, but Applebee's does. It's no one in the state, like the entire
yeah.
state. It's not allowed.
Well, that's the thing, because if Applebee's has it, but the Nines doesn't, well, someone's gonna go pick Applebee's over the Nines because they have happy hour. Like that's what we're
Right,
talking about. But
right, right.
since no one has it, you're still gonna go out and drink the. So that's why I don't like the money up, leaving money on the table. No, you're still gonna go drink,
Yeah,
whether it's happy hour or not.
right.
And the happy hour around here, if they instituted it, it would be a joke, dude. It would be like $1 or $2 off your high noons for from 4 to 6.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, what's the bill? They're $11. It's like, cool.
Yeah,
Thanks for the happy hour, I guess.
yeah, yeah.
But it would never be like buy one margarita, get two free. That would never happen here.
No,
No
no.
way.
Yeah, what do you think this is, New Orleans?
Myrtle Beach
Yeah.
or River Street in Savannah.
Yeah, oh yeah, I
They had
know.
something.
Yeah, they had some wild stuff there too. So, yeah,
Yeah, we were drinking
anyone,
margaritas for some reason. I don't even like tequila, but we were drinking margaritas because they had a special on
yeah.
something.
Yeah, I think
But
that's
like
what it
that, so
was.
that's where it works, right? Because I don't like tequila, but you and I ended up in that spot
Right. Right.
because they were offering something. But if no one has it, then there is no happy hour.
Right. Right. So, and it's never coming back.
So
So, all right. Well, on that note, that's going to do it. Thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, click subscribe up above. No, thumbs up somewhere. Click thumbs up somewhere and subscribe. Subscribe if you're an audio only guy too. You can get us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod. Twitter is sarcasm_speaks. Facebook is Sarcasm Speaks. The website is sarcasmspeaks.com. Check out the show notes below. Support the sponsors, support us, get some cool shit. And yeah, until next time, good night, everybody.